Kick me. What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. Now try again. I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again, with me. How did it feel? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will lose all the heavenly glory. Now do you understand? Good morning, people. It is Pancho Cardeña, back again to finish up, or try to finish this thing up, this story of mine. Yes, that's where we are, and I figure, you know, you have to have something to look at, so you can check out some of my training. Here you see me with the crazy bag. Again, it's all about staying out of that straight line, in my opinion. You know, again, in my Jeet Kune Do, if you will, in my way of seeing things, I figure that the point of this thing is to stay moving, never stay in the same place, especially not at 12 o'clock. Never stay at 12 o'clock. Keep moving to the sides, around it. Stay active, because if you stay active, the least you can do is overwhelm the opponent, because you just keep coming and coming and coming. Think of people like Pacquiao or the ultimate Rocky, you know. Think of that 14th round when he goes down for the last time and he gets up. What does Apollo do? He's like, oh my God, he won't stop this guy. He's just like, man, do I have to do this again with him? That's the kind of fighter you gotta be. Just stubborn. Think about, again, Pacquiao. He just, when he was at his peak, he was overwhelming people, just overwhelming people. Okay, stay busy, stay busy. Anywho, back to the story. So it is 1995. And I just purchased my Bruce Lee's fighting method. Again, I didn't go for the basic ones. I went for the advanced techniques. Just think about this. I was like, absolutely not. I'm not doing the basic thing. I got to do the advanced thing, even though I had absolutely no experience in the martial arts whatsoever. Just what I saw in the movies, a few things that I did on my own. Really nothing. Just imitating people on TV. So, 1995, I grabbed the book and I start with the finger jab, practicing in my bunk bed. Bow. Bow. Yeah, I know it's hard, but it was wood, you know, and I figure, hey, what the hell, I'm toughening up my fingers. Boom. Boom. And then I read that Bruce was also kicking cinder block walls, you know. So, again, using his... basically using the sidekick, using these walls to, you know, strengthen his sidekick. Again, you're only going to be pushed back, but again, if you're trying to kick these solid walls, you know, makes you kick smaller things too. It makes it easier. Anyway, so I was doing that, and I started running as well, and a lot of running. I started training a lot. I started just... he did bike, you know, stationary bike. I did stationary bike. He ran. That's when I really just, well, I've always been a runner, really. because since soccer. Anyway, so I guess I just got more serious about running at that point. Running, I found that it became very relaxing. It wasn't pressurized and stressful like when I was, playing for a team, being yelled at by the coach, hurry, hurry, go, go, go. So this was more about connecting with oneself. And again, that's what I'm trying to emphasize here with these talks, that it's Jeet Kune Do is directed to the ego, as Bruce used to say, It is a key to finding oneself, and also understanding, and really, you gotta be forgiving with yourself, man. I mean, if you make mistakes, because you're always gonna be making mistakes. I'm at the point now where I want to make mistakes because then it gives me something to fix. I don't want to be in this bubble where I just, this is, I know here it looks like I'm not even trying, because I'm not. I don't want to be stressed. I do this to stay stress-free. See, there is the microcosm, it is a macrocosm. So if nature can say and be violent at some point, but also can be peaceful. I can be peaceful, right? And as Bruce used to say, that life was in the living and also in the feeling, so we end up being suspended in midair when we start thinking too much, because we start to analyze things too much. We start to criticize, and not only that, dissect everything, and by doing all of that, we end up paralyzed. What is that? Paralysis by analysis. Because we just start thinking too much, and we just end up not doing anything, because all we do is just see that all the problems up ahead. These are right here on the screen. You can see the phases of growth. You got, sticking to the nucleus, then you have liberation from the nucleus, and then going back to the original freedom, which is nothingness. Again, sticking to the nucleus is learning your ABCs, you're learning your punches, learning your kicks, learning your throws. Then liberation from the nucleus, you start to put all those things together at your own pace, in your own way. You're not going, I gotta go 1, 2, 3 because it says 1, 2, 3, because sometimes you can go 1, 2 and then a hook kick. For some people it would be called a front roundhouse. Here you see me again staying busy, using my legs. Julio Cesar Chavez, got me interested in boxing, obviously Rocky. Muhammad Ali later on, because of Bruce Lee, really, he opened me up to other things, like philosophy, Alan Watts, Krishnamurti, Lao Tzu, again, Muhammad Ali, because Bruce used to idolize Muhammad Ali. I mean, he used to train because he thought, one day I'm going to fight him. I mean, he looked at the top fighter of the times and said, I got to train for him. And that's essentially what you want to do, because, what's the point then in living if you don't have goals? And really, it might seem crazy for some people, because, again, they're not standing in your shoes, not living in your heart, and not thinking with your head. Hell, I gotta be the one that can't, that has to go to sleep at night. And I know it's like that for a lot of people that want to do something, and their rules or their situation says, you can't do it. Maybe the culture, maybe ethnical or political or religious limitations. So again, that's why I'm emphasizing Jeet Kune Do being a key to find oneself. It's a tool to find that essence within you. I don't know how it happens, but again, maybe it is because of all knowledge is self-knowledge, as Bruce used to say. I'm always going to be saying, as Bruce used to say. Maybe I should find an acronym for that. Anyway, going back to the story. So I'm training, I'm kicking. Finally I go to my first martial arts class because I like to over-prepare, right? And I go for this free lesson, and I take my girlfriend, you know, because I'm like, you were the one who got me into this. I need you to, because I wanted her to always, right? So if I'm going to do something, she has to be there. So I'm there, and we start the class, and they say, okay, we're going to do roundhouses. And I'm like, I know how to do those. I'd be kicking my punching bag at home. So my girlfriend is holding the pads, and I'm hitting it with everything. You know, first of all, I didn't know I had a strong roundhouse, and I'm kicking with everything because the instructor is watching me, and I'm like, I want to learn, tell him, you know, like a good novice, I want to show off, you know. I want to say, look what I can do. And so, needless to say, my girlfriend ended up with a bunch of bruises on her forearms. Meanwhile, while I was doing it, she was looking at me like, oh, it hurts. And I'm like, oh, come on, I mean, suck it up. I was so stupid. So just because, again, I was being so egotistical at the time, I wanted to impress somebody, you see. So sometimes you run into extremes trying to impress people, you know. And I ran so much to an extreme that even my girlfriend ended up with bruises on her forearms, that poor little thing. I felt terrible ever since then, and ever since then she hasn't let me, you know, off the hook. She always reminds me of it. So again, don't be silly. Just relax and just go in there and be a student. Reduce yourself to the size of a child, so you can be a student and absorb the information. It is really hard when you're an adult to absorb information because you're always judging it. And that's what, again, thank God that I found Bruce, because with his teachings, you know, I realized, and I bumped into people too that changed me in the process too. I knew a guy who told me, long story, I'm going to make it short, he just told me, truth can come from anywhere. And I thought I should stop being so goddamn judgmental, and I just break up my ears and open up my mind, because the answer is always out there. The signs, brothers and sisters, the signs are always out there. So if you're in your head thinking about bullshit and a half, you're gonna miss it all. All the signs will be flashing in front of you, and you won't see them. So if you're constantly in your phone, you know, trying to disconnect yourself and just be basically tune out. I mean, if it helps you because you're trying to obtain some peace, by all means, you gotta really tune out at that point. But don't stay there for too long, because you know, you gotta interact. So besides, you gotta show people your good skills that you've been working on, right? So anyway, back to the story. So now I'm walking to my job because I don't even have a car, and I'm training a lot, getting sick all the time because I'm overtraining. I ended up getting married, so that meant moving to Corona, Riverside. I was living in Huntington Beach at the time, and it was fun to be there because, well, it was fun. Huntington Beach, California is a fun city to live in. It's very chill, it is very fun to live in, it's open, and it's beautiful. It's a beach town, you know. So we ended up moving inland to Riverside, California. It's Corona, Riverside, really. And my God, there was nothing there. And not looking back, it was exactly what I needed. It was to be, disconnected from distractions. All of a sudden I got focused because there was nothing to do. My running got more intense because I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car, so I had to get to my job, by running and catching the bus, and to get to the bus stop, it was about 1.5 miles. And I'm like, screw this. I'm not gonna walk this and just be lazy. I'm gonna run this. So I was like Forrest Gump. Everywhere I was going, I was running. That became my life. I was just running all the time while I was waiting for the bus. When I had to, I was missing the bus and I had to run after it. And everybody that's ridden the bus, and they know how it is to transfer, and there it goes. You have to start running. So I got really good at that. And again, it was like everything was being set up for me because I had the intention to be training in martial arts to get good at it. So I ended up finding a school over there, and this time I'm gonna be a little bit more wise about it because I had been training more and I understood what I did wrong the first time. So I find this actual Jeet Kune Do school, and at that time it was it was really hard to find these schools. Anyway, I find this school and I go in there, and right away the instructor just likes me right away, and he goes, "Hey, dude," after I think it was maybe a couple classes, he's made me his assistant instructor, and he said, "You come on down here, and I'll give you." He just charged me $5 extra for already from the base pay, the base rate that I was paying. $5 extra to get all of the classes there, as long as I was obviously helping, with the instructing people. Apparently, he saw that I was, I had gotten to myself to a level that I was already good enough to help him out, and I would help out with a lot of the classes, and I started taking, boxing, kickboxing, Filipino Eskrima, Dumog. Back then, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was just starting, so it was like everybody wanted to do Jiu-Jitsu, so we spent a lot of time doing Jiu-Jitsu. Rodrigo Medeiros, was the one who certified me. W. Hakam certified me, and Filipino Arnis. Just Eskrima. I got a whole bunch of certifications in Jiu-Jitsu. I just ended up getting to blue belt really because I didn't. After that, I ended up having to quit because apparently I was spending a lot of time at the in the martial arts. My wife was like, my brand new wife was like, "You're spending too much time training and over there at the studio and So one thing led to another. I had to quit. I felt like I had to because I figure I had to grow up. And, you always have, as a guy, you always have this pressure that, maybe I am just kidding myself. And it's all wrong because your true colors are really coming out. But society says you got to do something else. So to me, being a brand new husband, I had to, grow up quickly, as they say. So I had to leave the academy and, get serious. But then I ended up going to Santa Ana College, and ended up spending more time there. But everybody was okay with that. Anyway, I went in there and took some telecommunication classes. I did some. They had a news show, one in Spanish and English, and I did both. I produced some segments. I was an anchor and a reporter. A lot of people said that I took really to it, that it looked like I was fit for it, but I hated it. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to do martial arts, right? So I was getting fat. Going to school, just working, growing more unhappy because there was fire inside me that needed to be expressed. Then I think I just stopped going to school. It just got too much because I was, traveling from Rivers to Corona, from Corona to Santa Ana over and over, and I just stopped. I was worn out. I didn't want to do it in the first place. So I just ended up working for for Home Depot, and that's when I dipped into the deepest depression I was ever in. I actually no, that was just starting to hit me. It didn't happen until my wife developed a brain tumor. Yes, folks, a brain tumor. Again, when you've gone through enough shit, certain things just don't scare you. That moment in time when I had to be strong for my wife, that moment in time when I thought I was gonna lose my wife, nothing mattered. I was deep, and like any brand new husband, I was deep in debt already. Okay, because it's designed that way. This economy is designed that way. If you live in the United States, it doesn't take long before you start to develop debt, credit card debt, and all of a sudden you're deep in it, and all you're doing is just working to pay that credit card debt, because brand new husband had to buy all these things, right, for the new house and things like that, which I didn't have. Again, things were never easy, but again, knowing what of Bruce Lee and what he had gone through in his starving days, you know, when nobody would give him a job, you know, because he was too Chinese, or maybe because he just immigrated to the country, you know, I knew of these stories, and I know that, you know, I mean, I didn't know back then. I had to learn it as I went, because I looked for these stories, because they called me, because I was what I was going through. And I'm telling you, folks, if you guys are going through something, it's life knocking at your door saying, hey, you gotta follow those dreams, because the problems will never stop. So might as well be accomplishing those goals and dreams that you have in mind and in heart. So I mean, because you're waiting for a perfect day, that's never gonna happen. Never, never. And the challenges keep happening. So as Bruce used to say, don't give me an easy life. Give me the strength to deal with a difficult one. So that's what I always carry with me. And that's when I started, you know, writing all these deep thoughts, you know, and started to get really philosophical. And because I had all this solitude of being in Corona Riverside, there was nothing but orange groves, you know, as far as the eye can see. I'm talking like an old man. But it was developing, right? So there was no civilization back in those days, and in the 90s, and it was just developing. So it was a perfect place for me to develop as a martial artist. So I at that time, I was starving from it, because again, my wife had just gone through all those troubles, medical problems, and I had to be strong for her. And then after all of that, she went through the surgery, and you know, she was still going through therapy, and then depression just hit me. It was like I was trying to be an oak, right? You heard what Bruce said about that. I was trying to be an oak, be really strong, and I just cracked, you know. And I was just in this daze, because I would stop myself from dreaming. I would drive into work and be thinking, you know, I'm driving into the mouths of hell, you know, and my life, my dreams are extinguishing. And I would tell myself, stop, don't even try to dream. What's the point? This is your life, and this is what you do. And I would grow sadder even. So it was like it just kept stacking up. Anyway, getting fatter, and then my wife notices that, and after I had been for her there, you know, obviously she was gonna be there for me. She was like, well, what do you really want to do? Because I would, you know, sit there, you know, and be like, I just, you know, I didn't want to do anything. And she was like, well, what do you want to do? So you know what I really want to do? I want to act. I want to be a martial arts movie star, a martial arts action star, or a martial arts instructor, or at least just do martial arts. I was like, I haven't done it so long. And so she said, you know, whatever you want to do. So I started taking some classes, some acting classes, which it didn't last long, you know. I was too egotistical to see that, because I would get so nervous when I was on stage, you know, so I was too self-conscious. And again, I kept running those lessons that Bruce taught, you know, about being self-conscious and being too self-aware, and that's your limitation. Until finally, I also wanted to be a trainer because I just wanted to exercise all the time. I wanted to know what was I doing wrong, because I was overtraining and I was getting sick all the time, and I wasn't eating properly, obviously. So, long story short, I became a certified trainer. My wife helped me out because I was too shy to even ask how to do it. You know, she would ask around and just give me the answers, you know. I mean, I was so deep into depression, I was like in my own shell. And my head was in the sand, to tell you the truth. I mean, I really didn't really feel the hope to look up. And I've always been a positive, bright guy that, you know, I've graduated with honors from high school. That's a story from another time, but I mean, I've always been outgoing. I've always had things to do, you know, and I didn't want to do anything at that time. And again, it was because I wasn't living to my full extent. There was something there that wanted to be expressed. So by taking these classes, I started to understand that I needed to unclog myself. Then, you know, by being a trainer, you know, I would make my little list, you know, my clients would come in and I would, you know, get ready to train them, and I would spend hours, you know, getting their workouts ready. I get out there on the workout floor and I need the bench press. Oh, it's taken. Oh, well, okay, well, let's go over there to the cables. Boom, we use the cables. I just went and improvised. And it was like that all the time. Then it just got to the point where I went to the clipboard, I just threw it away and I said, screw it. I know about the human body. I have the intentions of helping my clients. I'm just going to stay open and receptive and just flow. Be water, baby. And again, all of these teachings always there, you know, as a professional fitness trainer, because I take that seriously. I can't be cheating people because I know that. There are some people that just get there that become trainers that don't know shit, that care less about their clients. They're just there to make the money. And I don't. I want to help them because I know that exercise helps people. I know that physical activity is therapy for people. People are finding, science is just finding that out. This is therapy. It's the medicine, like I said before, the medicine that Bruce spoke about being, you know, because he found the cause of his suffering. You know, so again, when you find it, you know what to do. And I'm like, I started noticing when I exercise, I feel great. When I don't, I feel shitty. Exercise. Then I thought to myself, well, not just exercising, I must apply myself, because I must be getting somewhere, because I can't just be in the treadmill. That's good to just build a sweat, but it's just part of what you should be doing, especially if you want to be a martial artist, right? So then you start working out how to structurize your training.